Good evening, and welcome to What the Football. Sorry, I just had to do that. That's my best impression of Unai Emery. But anyway, welcome to the podcast. Glad you're with us. Lots to talk about today. There were the midweek matches and the weekend matches. Lot of goals, lot of high energy things going on. We're gonna get into all of it. I guess that's it. This is What the Football.
It is What the Football.
Okay, Judah.
Let's go.
Let's start with the midweek, the big match from the midweek. It was United versus Chelsea. How was the trip to Old Trafford?
It wasn't good.
Yeah?
It was not good. I think it was a poor performance from Chelsea. I think so because they kept giving the ball away. They were so sloppy in possession. They made United look like a really great team. Now, United is a great team historically.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, but they made those guys seem like gladiators. And I'm like, I wasn't happy. Because it was definitely late kickoff. And I stayed up to watch that.
And you stayed up to watch a 2-1
Yeah,
loss.
it wasn't worth it to me at some point. Because I'm looking at it like, what are these guys playing? What is going on? But shout out to United, 2 goals from McTominay.
Yeah.
Seems to be having a lot of goals this season, at least compared to his other seasons. But Chelsea were poor. They were poor. I didn't feel like they even deserved to win or to even get a point.
Wow.
The funny thing is, the teams that Chelsea lose to, all these other teams get to lose to folks who I'm like, so you lose to these guys, but you win Chelsea? I'm like, I don't understand. I'm like, what's going on?
It's just that season, I guess, for Chelsea.
Oh, man, it's so poor. So poor. It's a poor season. A really poor season. But United needed 3 points. They got 3 points. I think for me, the thing was, before the game, there was a whole lot of talk about Ten Hag losing the dressing room and all of that. And it was his job on the line. And then Chelsea just came and massaged him back into comfort. As the guy was under so much pressure and stuff. And
this is the chance.
You were thinking, okay, Chelsea will come and because most of the time teams go through that issue of there's news in the media about there's a fallout or the dressing room, he's lost it and all.
Yep.
When teams come to play those guys, they just have fun with them.
Yep.
But Chelsea come and they had fun with Chelsea. And I'm like, and after the game, Ten Hag was so confident doing the whole.
Oh yes, I can imagine.
Remember what they said in the media? This is the proof. This is what I was telling you.
Yeah.
The boys are going to fight. They're fighting hard. All that because Chelsea were just the turkey, the roasted turkey or something, man. It was just so easy for them. But it is what it is. Yeah. I think as a Chelsea supporter this season, we've accepted our fate.
Just taking the wins as they come.
Yeah, I think we're also taking our L. So, but it's football. You win some, you lose some. Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. We'll try to go through some of the results quick. Luton Arsenal is a big result for Arsenal. 4-3.
Yeah.
Luton, I guess, have surprised a lot of people by how they've played. Unfortunately, they find themselves in the relegation zone at the moment. But there's a 4-3. Declan Rice scores in the dying seconds. 97.
Something like that.
So I think it was 96, 6 minutes given. And then 97th, there's just that cross and that moment of magic.
Bummer.
100 million, whatever it was that we paid for him. So
yeah.
But yeah, that was a good. It was a good 3 points
for you guys. I feel sad for Luton. They scored 3, they don't win. And they will get a point.
Unfortunate.
It is what it is.
But yeah, that was that game. Fulham Nottingham 5-0.
Oh, that game was. I wasn't expecting a 5-0. I think Fulham and maybe Villa are the guys who have enjoyed this week the most.
Sure, yeah.
Fulham 5-0 against Forest. I think the big thing for me after that game was I'm kind of scared for Steve Cooper's job.
Mm.
That's the big thing for me. Because even before that game, I think they've lost a few games already.
Mm.
They're not in a comfortable place.
Mm.
And you see that this season is a very funny season in the sense that it feels like anybody can defeat anybody.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
It definitely feels like that. Look at City. They're fourth. And that does not, to me, I don't think that should be chaos or that should be panic.
No, yeah.
But you see kind of places where they've dropped points and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's really cool. But for Fulham, you can't blame them. They got the opportunity to score 5. They did score 5.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to them.
Yeah.
Especially after the loss to Liverpool, where they were leading 3-2 up until like the 80-something minutes. But the game ended with them losing 4-3.
Yeah.
So I think it was good for them to get that win.
Yeah. All right. Aston Villa and Manchester City. That was probably like the big match that everybody was looking at. And
apart from United Chelsea.
Sure.
Actually. But for top of the table clash, Villa City was it. It was a good game, especially for Villa.
Yeah.
I felt like if there was a game where City were not sure what they were going to do, it was that game. Villa played so well. Even from the stats for shots and stuff, it was so clear that Villa were trying their best to... First of all, they were not scared of City. So, when a big team or the champions come, you'd usually go, okay, we have to be cautious. We have to do... Nah, man, they were pressing. They were doing all they needed to do. They had chances. I think City had only 2 shots on target the whole game and all of that. So, great stuff. Villa Park, not an easy place to go to right now for anybody.
Yeah, true. That's
anybody.
True. Yeah, and that's, I think, just the magic, the magic of Unai Emery inspiring his teams. I feel like a lot of his teams, the way I've seen them play, whether in Spain or now with how Villa play, he has the capability to inspire those teams to work really, really hard on and off the ball.
Yeah, I think so.
To get a result, So yeah, I mean, it seemed like from all the stats that they totally dominated the game. Yeah, what was it? 22 shots versus
about 22 shots. Yeah,
that's insane. Yeah. But credit to them, I guess, and they continued to keep their unbeaten home record.
Yes,
it's like that was at that time it was 14 games, and we'll get to the 15 in a bit.
Yeah.
But Tottenham versus West Ham.
Oh, that game was... It was a great game to watch. So Spurs scored first, and then West Ham scored 2 goals that I was telling someone, if that game is replayed 5 times, they might not score any of those goals. I'm serious. They might not score any of those goals if that game is replayed 5 times.
Wow.
The first goal was... It was a funny situation in the sense that I don't know what... I think it was Kudus who did something. And the ball bounces off 2 Spurs players and falls to the feet of Jared Bowen.
I saw that, yeah.
So that stuff, things like that happen like 1 in 1,000.
True. Yeah.
The second goal, the same thing with the back pass from Doge. And Vicario punches it, but he hits, what's his name? Ward-Prowse? I think it was Ward-Prowse.
Oh, yeah.
And he hits the crossbar. He comes back to the feet of Ward-Prowse.
I saw that, yeah. And then he scored.
So you see, that's why I said those 2 goals, you could play that game 5 more times.
Yeah, it wouldn't happen.
And West Ham wouldn't have those 2 goals. Now, I'm not saying they wouldn't score.
Sure.
But those 2 goals, the way they happened, they wouldn't have. And I think as at the end of that game, that was Spurs' 3rd straight home loss.
Yes, it was.
And in those 3 games, they scored first.
That's right, yeah.
And I'm like, oh. They started the season really well. Andrew was breaking records like, Tottenham's best start to the season until this.
True.
And now they've had the positive records and the not so positive records. Yeah. But I think it's a Spursy thing to do.
I didn't say that, you did. I wasn't expecting you to say that, but that's...
Well, yeah. I'm trying to console myself.
That's funny. Okay, so that's Spurs and West Ham.
Yeah.
Everton versus Newcastle.
Oh, that's one of the games that shocked me, to be honest. Everton winning 3-0 at home against Newcastle.
Working hard.
They're working really hard, so hard.
Yeah.
It feels like the 10-point deduction has actually motivated them to show to everybody.
I told you that because like you've talked about how maybe they would have been way higher up had
They
that
would
not
have
happened.
been.
I don't know. I feel like this has ignited them to be like, we got to get out of this.
Those
mess.
guys are like, they're like soldiers in a battle.
Yeah.
When they come on the pitch, the funny thing is, in that game, I think it was at the 75th minute, it was still goalless. So the 3 goals came really late in the game.
Wow.
And I think you could say Trippier was at fault for 2 of them.
Okay.
And all. But shout out to Everton. 3-0 at home against Newcastle.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
Just beautiful stuff.
Yeah. So where you feel like they would have probably been way higher up.
So with the points on the table,
Yes.
and I'm only saying this with the points on the table. I'm not assuming stuff. So with the points on the table, which they have now, they have, I think, as at now that we're recording, they have 13 points. If you include the 10 points that was taken off, they would have 23 points. That puts them above Chelsea.
Wow.
Because Chelsea have 19 points, Chelsea are 12th. If you give Everton so if for some reason the appeal that they are working on happens and the 10 points are given them back,
yeah,
they climb into the top half of the table.
Yeah, they could have, yeah.
They climb straight into the top half of the table. You could say the same thing about Wolves.
Yeah, true. With all the
refereeing decisions that has gone against them, with the guy giving the PK that goes to the championship and all of that.
Yeah.
Wolves right now are also on 19 points. Same with Chelsea. So if all of those things didn't happen, Wolves could also be in the top half. So this season, the league table is just, at least so far, the league table is just so good to see in the sense that you see people where you don't usually expect them to be.
Yeah.
So Villa is 3rd on the table now.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
they are 3rd on the table. You don't see that regularly.
No. And it's a good thing in the sense that between now and the end of the season, anything can happen.
True. Anything can.
It's quite open.
Yeah. So if you look at the top 10, you have Liverpool is there, Arsenal is there, Villa is there.
Yeah.
City is there.
Some solid teams.
You have Spurs there.
Yeah.
You have United there. You have Newcastle somewhere there. So you see that, what do we call this? A 4-horse race? 5-horse race?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, 6-7 horse race.
I don't think United are fighting for the title, bro.
Well, but the thing is, like, a lot of the teams you mentioned, maybe even all of them, they have solid teams. You know, they've spent some time building the last few years. I'm thinking specifically like Newcastle, Arsenal, City's obviously there, Liverpool's obviously there, Spurs a little bit this season.
Yeah.
You know, and so all those teams like will be looking at that and going, you know what, like, let's give it a shot, you know?
I think the race for Champions League football this season will be epic.
Yep.
I think it will be epic.
Yeah. All right, so that was Everton, Newcastle.
Yeah.
And let's move to the weekend now.
Yep.
Some of the big results. Starting first with Manchester United and Bournemouth.
Oh, bro.
United lose at home again.
Bro. That game was... one of the reasons why that game was funny was because 3 days before that game, United played Chelsea and won them at Old Trafford. So sometimes I'm looking at this and I'm like, is somebody telling these guys what to do and what not to do? Like Chelsea came and they played like their lives depended on it. Then Bournemouth came and ran them ragged.
Yeah, 3-0.
It should have been 4.
Oh, yeah.
Now the 4th goal was cancelled because I think it was Ouattara.
Yeah.
While he was trying to get the ball over Onana, it's flicked off his hand. Now, just touched his hand. It could have been 4. Like Bournemouth could have demolished them 4-0.
Well,
at Old Trafford. Now, at the final whistle, while everybody's moving out of their seats on the bench, Ten Hag is just standing there. I'm like, I don't want to imagine what's going through his head. He could be thinking like, what have I just seen?
Yeah.
Is it one step forward, two step back? Is it two steps forward, one step back? But that's actually one of the shocks of the weekend.
Yeah.
Now I was Bournemouth are in a good patch. They've won 4 of their last 5.
Okay.
So I was expecting that the game will not be easy for United, but I wasn't expecting them to lose like 3-0. I wasn't. But I think it's one of the reasons we love the game.
That's true, yeah. And also the fact that United are going through a rough patch at the moment.
Well, their rough patch is good for them. They're 6th. Chelsea's 12th, bro.
That's also good. No, I actually feel for you. It's
I tell
actually
you,
kind
man.
of sad. But anyway.
Because United have European football and all of that. Chelsea don't.
Yeah.
And they're languishing in 12th.
It'll come back. For both those teams, it'll take a while, but it'll come back. But that's what happens, like for you guys, it was the ownership. For United, it was, the legacy of Sir Alex. And so
I think they got to move on from Sir Alex.
Well, of course they do, but it takes time, I mean, it's taken Arsenal time as well, after Arsene Wenger, even though things were sort of going south for a bit, it took a while to get going, so it just takes the right kind of mentality, the right kind of plan moving forward, because the game has changed since those times, So anyway, okay, so we talked about United and Bournemouth. Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. Liverpool away. Yeah. They get the 3 points to go on top.
Yes, good game for Liverpool. Palace scored first, and then Jordan Ayew gets a red card.
Yeah.
And after Ayew gets a red card, Liverpool scored 2 goals. Now, I don't know for certain if I'm not saying Liverpool would not have scored if Ayew didn't go off.
Sure, yeah.
But you can't deny that is a factor.
Yeah.
To play against 10 men, it's a different thing than playing against 11. And I use a hard-working player. He's a hard-working player. But shout out to Liverpool. They needed 3 points. And that is what you expect big teams to do, to win. Even if it's beautiful or it's not beautiful, get 3 points.
Yeah, and also for Liverpool, they're one of those teams I feel like that can switch on and off. They switch off, every now and then. But then when the time comes, they switch on. And that was one of those moments when they saw that they're like, you know what? We need to give this a shot now.
Yeah, I think you were saying something earlier about Liverpool being one of the teams that get to concede first but still end up winning.
Yeah, that's been...
they are also in losing positions at some point in the game.
Yeah.
And still end up winning. So,
remember Newcastle? Like
Newcastle? And that was 10 men.
Yeah.
That was 10 men Liverpool.
Yeah.
Went away to Newcastle.
Crazy.
From 1-0 down. Nunes 2 goals in like 5 minutes. Even the Fulham game, they were losing 3-2 at some point, ended up winning 4-3. Then they've done it again against Palace, 1-0 down, ended up winning 2-1.
Yeah.
So it is what I think it shows the character, the spirit, the mentality of the team. I think as Klopp would say, mentality monsters.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So they need 3 points, they got 3 points, they moved up.
Yep.
Job done. Good week for them.
Good week for them.
Yeah, because midweek they won Sheffield.
That's right.
So good week for them. Move on.
Yeah.
Although not so good because I think Joel Matip tore his ACL.
He did.
Yeah, so he's out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah. Although I think his contract is up at the end of the season.
I saw that too.
Yeah.
I think Klopp said something like, the club will hopefully show some class. Some class and some support and,
It's all right.
I mean, Matip's, taking care of the club and he's showed up in a lot of games. He's a good player.
He is.
So,
he is.
Anyway, moving on.
Yes.
The game that frustrated me the most this weekend.
What game is that?
Aston Villa versus Arsenal.
I think that was the game that excited me most this weekend.
I know that.
I told you I wanted you guys to I wanted Villa to win.
Yes, I know that. You cursed us, basically.
I didn't. I just said what I wanted.
And it happened.
Well, I want Chelsea to win. They're not winning.
Yeah, you may need to talk to somebody else about that. I can't help you.
I do want Chelsea to win, but they're not. But the other games that I want, it happens. So there's a friend of mine who's also an Arsenal fan and said some stuff about, we're sitting at the top and all of that. I think I put it out there and something like, I hope Liverpool and Villa win this weekend. Kalas. That's what happened. Because I knew if Liverpool win, they'll go top. Because they played before you guys did. And if Villa win, you guys will stay where you are for Liverpool to stay top. And I'm like, I'm happy. As you can see, I have a Liverpool shirt today.
Yeah, I'm wearing a cat shirt today because of Pep's comments about the we'll get to that later. Anyway, but so where do you write this stuff? On Instagram?
I think I wrote that on Instagram. I think it was on my IG story.
Okay.
Because the guy, he put something on his story and tagged me in it. And last night, I'm like, okay, I think you're too confident now.
Okay.
And it happened that way.
So I guess we need to hack your phone so that we can then write about Arsenal winning the league, Chelsea getting relegated.
No, don't do that. Don't do that, bro. Come on.
So
don't do that.
Sounds like that's the place we need to be. Anyway, yeah, it was a frustrating game though because I felt like Arsenal were the better team in almost every area. Dominated the game, created, as many chances. I so far, at least this season, I haven't seen Arsenal create that many chances and lose.
Okay, and lose, yeah.
I mean, the only other game they've lost is against Newcastle, I think.
Yeah, the 1-0, yeah.
And they didn't create that many chances in that game.
That Newcastle game, there were not too many chances from either team.
True. Yeah. But in this match, I was just like so frustrated because I'm like, had we scored, we could have killed the game. I felt like because Villa
depends on when you scored.
Well, I mean, obviously Villa scored 7th minute.
Villa scored pretty early. I think that was also something that helped them. They scored pretty early, so they got comfortable.
Yep.
But I think you also had a team that had a former Arsenal goalkeeper in Martinez.
Yeah.
And a former Arsenal coach in Unai Emery.
Yes. Two of the reasons I wanted us to win the game.
Well, two of the reasons you lost the game.
Well, yeah. Unfortunate.
Two of the reasons you lost the game is those two guys.
Unfortunate.
You can see Martinez was really, really into it.
Well, Martinez is just informed from the World Cup and everything.
He's really into it. At the final whistle, you can see how much it meant to Unai and all of that. So, good stuff for Villa.
It's okay.
I am happy for them.
He can keep it for now.
Yeah, he should. In the space of 4 days to defeat City and Arsenal in 4 days and go third on the table. Man, let the guy have his flowers.
Sure.
Let him have his flowers.
He can have them for now.
Let him have his flowers.
We'll take him back when it comes to the Emirates. But anyway, yeah, I think for Arsenal, they just need to be clinical in those moments. Because, I mean, there are 2 or 3 just clear chances. I think Odegaard had 2 chances where, like, on another day, he scores those easily. So
I guess
that was the frustrating bit for me. And, like, the amount of times they broke, the back line and got through Martinelli, Havertz quite a few times. Like, I was just, like, frustrated at that because I'm like, those are the moments that make or break,
True.
the chance to win the league. And so if you don't score, you don't win, obviously.
There's still time. You guys haven't played Liverpool yet. Well, above you guys. But what's your reaction to the Havertz goal that got cancelled toward the end of the game?
I mean, on the one hand, I feel like they should have just allowed that to stand because, like, I get all the angles and, like, they're looking at it and going like, oh, okay, touched him first and that, but that was just a mess. The whole thing was just a mess.
So if it's a mess, why do you let it go?
Well, because, like, at the end of the day, you can't, I don't know. I feel like with the angles they were looking at, you couldn't fully tell who hit what first. I don't know.
Well, I think it was Matty Cash's hand first, then Kai Havertz's hands. But in that situation, when I saw the angles, before the decision was made, I'm like, clearly this goal would not stand.
Yeah.
Clearly won't stand because the fact that Havertz puts it in the net after it touches his hand ain't gonna stand. But it's what it is.
This is what it is.
You move on.
I guess the last big game from the weekend, Spurs versus Newcastle, which we just watched.
Yeah, great game for Spurs. Not so good for Newcastle.
Nope.
Back-to-back losses. kind of like Chelsea, back-to-back losses. But I felt like Newcastle they didn't have a good game. I don't know if it's fatigue because of the injuries and having to play nearly the same 11 for like 4 consecutive games or 3 now.
Yeah.
But Spurs could have scored much more than 4.
Yeah.
They could have literally scored like 6.
They had a good game.
They had a good game, but 4-1 at home. The fans are singing again. Faith in Big Ange is back.
I don't think Faith in Big Ange left, really.
I don't think he left, but at least he has some peace and quiet now.
Sure, yeah.
So he can sleep well tonight. Most of the other times, when you lose after going ahead, and you do it not once, not twice, 3 times.
3 times, yeah.
Questions have to be asked.
Sure.
Questions have to be asked. But to do this, winning at home against Newcastle, who is Newcastle is in the same space where they are on the table. So to have that win against Newcastle, I think is a really good thing for them.
Yeah.
And also to bring an end to the run of losses at home, they also needed that.
Yeah.
But good stuff for them. Really good stuff for them.
Yeah.
Really, really good stuff for them.
Yeah.
So,
Newcastle felt like they were tired.
Yeah, I didn't feel like Newcastle played well enough to win, especially against a very quick and sharp Spurs side. And you could see the speed at which they attacked. Spurs, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Once they got the ball was moving quickly, the players. And you can see their front line. Kulu is fast. Son is fast.
They have pace, yeah.
Johnson is fast. Brennan Johnson is fast. And I think the first half, the plan was clear. Put Son on Trippier.
No, yeah.
And Trippier did have a good game towards the end in the Everton game. And Son was dealing with him, man, in the first half. So you can see the 2 goals where Son assists. Same angle. Same idea. Cut back into the post and all that. So they needed it. They got it. Let's see if they can hold on to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Richarlison, that's 2 goals for him, right?
2 goals, yeah. And his really nice celebration, which I like to see sometimes. He needs that also. As a striker, you need goals to keep your confidence, to keep your head in the right place and all of that. So it's really good for him to get those goals. Yeah. Really, really good for him.
That's Big Ange's trust in him. So paid off.
Yeah, I also feel like he did it this way because of the opponents. I think he really wanted Son on the wing to go against Trippier and all of that.
Makes sense.
Because the thing is, when Maddison is back, what happens? Because you can't still play. Because so for that game, he started Son, Richarlison, Johnson, and Kulu. So when Maddison is back and firing, one of them has to sit on the bench. It will not be Son. It might not be Kulu. So it's between Richarlison and Johnson. So it depends. But it also depends on the team he's playing and what he wants to do and all that kind of stuff. So
right. And it's not a bad problem to have.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
That's not a bad problem to have.
It is not in any way a bad problem to have.
I think I heard the commentator saying something like, for Richarlison, this was like as many goals as he scored all of last season. Was it something like that?
No, I think it was in that game he had scored double the amount he had scored so far in the season. So he had only gotten 1 Premier League goal. Then in that game he got 2, so that's double, I guess.
So he scored more than last season, basically.
I don't know how many Premier League goals he got last season.
Okay,
to be honest. But I think one of the other stats was that was his first goal with his leg for Spurs. So I think he scored 5 goals, and all 5 of them were headers.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I think that was his first goals with his feet.
A good match to score there, then.
Yeah, I guess so. At home to Newcastle.
And a good performance by him, too, all around.
Yeah, he had a good game also.
Shout out Richarlison.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's, I guess, the end of the Premier League recap.
Yeah, Fulham won 5-0 again over the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Against West Ham.
Wait, that was, yeah.
So they won 5-0 midweek against Nottingham. That's so Forest 5-0, West Ham 5-0. So in 4 days, they scored 10 goals.
10 goals.
And conceded none.
That's, I don't know what that says, but that's great.
Marco Silva and the boys are having fun.
Yeah, it was good.
5-0.
Good for them. That's solid.
Yeah, good stuff.
But I guess that's it.
Yeah,
I can't believe I forgot that one because we talked about that. Anyway,
5-0.
sorry about that.
Oh, good. Fine.
Preview. I think
Okay.
next weekend, big game. Liverpool versus Manchester United.
Oh, I expect Liverpool to win.
Okay.
I expect there's not much I can say. I expect Liverpool to win. The thing with United now is they could go there and put up a performance and maybe get a draw.
True.
But I think Liverpool now have their eyes on the prize.
Mm.
This is the first time in a while they've been top of the table.
This is the first time in the season, yeah.
Even last season, I don't think they were ever top. Arsenal was top for most of the season.
Right. Like, I mean,
the end.
I'm talking about just this season.
Yeah, true. So, but even
the first time this season.
Yeah, and even in a while, they haven't felt that that number one stuff.
Yeah.
So now that they have it, I feel like they should know what to do, which is do the best that they can to stay there.
Yeah.
And I don't think United is big enough a problem to take them off. But it is football, as we keep saying, and that's why we watch football.
That's true.
Because it could just be, as you say, Liverpool have off days. So what the prayer should be that is not one of their off days.
I want it to be one of their off days.
Well, I don't. I really don't want it to be one of their off days.
I want it to be one of their off days, and I guarantee you they're going to go behind.
Well, if they do go behind, I just hope they do what they've been doing, which is come back.
Let's see
and win the game.
See,
but it's good stuff for them. The thing with United though is, I think in the last 2 games, Marcus Rashford hasn't started.
Oh,
so the last 2 games is coming as a substitute for a couple of minutes towards the end.
Okay.
I feel like I think that's telling on his form. Because this season, I think he has only 1 goal in the Premier League, or 2. Okay, 2. I think it's 2. There was a penalty that was gifted to him by Bruno. So, I don't know. Does he start him? Does he keep him on the bench as he's been? Would it depend on how he does in the UCL against Bayern? So, there are too many questions to answer. But I hope Liverpool wins.
Okay, let's see. Let's see what happens with that match. Let's move to the Champions League.
Oh, yeah.
That's coming. I think that's this week, right?
It is this week.
Okay, so 2 questions. Okay, we're going to get your responses to them.
Okay.
First question. Can Manchester United qualify for the round of 16?
No. No.
You don't want them to win at Liverpool. You don't want them to win in the Champions League.
Now, can they qualify? Statistically and logically, they can. If not, there's nothing to fight for. So they can't. But for them to qualify, the conditions are so hard. So Bayern has qualified.
Right.
Top in the group. Copenhagen and Galatasaray are both on 5 points.
Yep.
And United is on 4.
Yep.
For United to qualify, first of all, they have to win Bayern Munich.
Yep.
For them to qualify, that's the first thing they have to do.
Yep.
They must win. Must. But the funny thing is that is not enough.
Yep. They have to wait for the
So they have to win and hope that the other game goes the way they want it to go.
Yeah, that's...
So if any of those teams win, Copenhagen or Galatasaray win, United, even if they win 20-0, would not qualify. So the only way United will qualify is if they win Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
And hope that Galatasaray and Copenhagen draw.
Yep.
Now, I don't think those now, they'll say once in how many years the moon and the sun are aligned together and this is that and that is this and that. That's the only way United can qualify. Everything, the stars have to align and this has to happen and that has to happen. And Bayern Munich have just lost 5-1. So are they angry? Do they need to show the coach a reaction? My guy.
More than likely, yeah.
I think United should just pack their bags and leave Europe.
Yeah.
Maybe they could go to the Europa League.
Let's see.
So if someone wins in the Copenhagen Galatasaray game and they still win
Against Bayern.
United.
Maybe
Sorry,
they
they
go-
win Bayern. Yeah. So whoever loses that game, they will go above, so they could still go to the Europa League. So there's still hope for European football for them.
Let's
It's
see.
Thursday night football.
See, but
yeah.
that again, that's all dependent on the other teams and how they do. So from United's point of view, this is pretty much over.
Well, they have to do their job, which is defeat Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
You can't bother yourself so much about what the other two teams are going to do.
Yeah.
Your job is you're playing against the team,
Yep.
win that.
Yep. Let's see.
Until you do that, there's no need talking. So if they don't win Bayern, no matter how much the stars align, it will bring nothing. So just do your job.
Yeah.
Defeat Bayern Munich. Do that first. And then let's do the permutations after that.
Hey, at the very least, they could say we beat Bayern Munich. So
Yeah. It could be their trophy for the season.
Yeah.
We defeated Bayern Munich at Old
there you
Trafford.
go.
Better than nothing. Tell you.
If only that was a trophy. That would be funny. Anyway, okay. Second question:
Yes.
who will join Dortmund from Group F
Aye.
in the round of 16? PSG, Newcastle, or Milan?
That's a tough one.
AC Milan.
I think I'm going to lean towards PSG
Okay.
because PSG is already second, I think, on 7 points.
Mm-hmm.
Milan and Newcastle. Okay, actually, it's Newcastle third, then Milan fourth. I think are both on 5 points, if I'm not wrong. And they play each other. So that's not very good. In the sense that one of them must not qualify or will not qualify. Let me say that one. One of them will not qualify.
Mm-hmm.
PSG played Dortmund in the final game. Dortmund have already qualified. So they have little to nothing to prove.
Mm-hmm.
Except they want to keep top spot in the group. Because you know the way the UCL draw works, if you keep top spot in the group, you play the runners-up of the other groups and stuff.
Yep.
So except they really want to keep top spot, because I think if PSG defeats them, PSG will go ahead of them. They will both be on the same points, though. I think they will be on 10 points. I think PSG will go ahead because PSG would have defeated them home and away. Or except the goal difference is that if it's tight, then you do the whole head-to-head thingy. If not, then PSG has to just have a better goal difference than Dortmund does, but I don't know who has the better one. But I'm leaning towards the easy answer, which I think is PSG.
Okay.
Because I think all they need to do is not lose at Dortmund. And they should be able to qualify, I believe. Yeah, I should have checked this before coming out.
So, okay, we'll see.
Yeah, but I think I'll go PSG.
See in a few days what happens.
Yeah, I'll go PSG.
And that's gonna wrap up, I guess, the group stages.
Yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
gonna be on our way to the round of 16 at the start of the new year.
That's where the good stuff
Or
happens.
whenever that comes back, February or something.
That's where the good stuff happens.
That's
where the
true.
Good stuff happens. Then we'll see those who move from Tuesday, Wednesday to Thursday night football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, dear Pelik.
Mhm.
Okay, that's cool. Okay. Some other news. We had the first sacking of the season, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Sheffield
In the Premier League.
Has that happened in other places?
Yeah, I think Napoli had sacked their coach already.
Oh damn. Okay. Well, in the Premier League, that was the first sacking. I thought it was gonna be Ten Hag, but he's still living on a prayer somehow.
Oh, bro. But I was saying stuff about wanting them to not, wanting Liverpool to win them, and you were like, oh, you do this against United. And now you want their coach to be sacked.
I thought he was gonna get sacked, but he hasn't. Surprisingly,
I think he has some credit in the bank from his first season. He won the Carabao Cup. He took them to the UCL.
Fair.
So I think he still has some credit in the bank. And he could still say, I have players out. I have Casemiro out. I have Lisandro Martinez out. And all of that.
Sure.
But yeah, it's not a very good season for him. But I think from the first season, he still has some credit in the bank.
Okay.
Then with the whole Jim Radcliffe stuff, so I don't know if they want to sack him right now. Except the Ineos guy wants him out. But as a United headache, that's not mine.
Yeah. But let's talk about Sheffield United, though.
Yeah.
They sacked their manager, Paul Heckingbottom.
Nice name. Nice name.
And bring back the OG,
Chris Wilder.
Chris Wilder.
Chris Wilder.
Chris
come
Wilder is
on.
back after 2.5 years away.
Yeah. I remember watching Sheffield games with Chris Wilder and Doggett. And he used to play some funny kind of football. At some point, it would be 5 at the back, then becomes 3 at the back. Then he had overlapping center backs. Because people have overlapping wing backs. Chris Wilder had overlapping center backs.
Could have been an overlapping goalkeeper too.
You never know, bro. You just never know with Chris Wilder. You just never know.
Well, he's back, so let's see what happens.
He is back. His first game was the loss against Liverpool.
Oh, yeah.
But the funny thing, I think he just came on the job like 2 days before that and all.
Good.
But they lost to Liverpool. But his second game, he won Brentford.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they won Brentford over the weekend. 1-0. Beautiful goal from, I can't remember the guy's name, but it was a great goal. Great. In that game, Onyeka, the Brentford midfielder, actually had studs on one of the Sheffield guys and got only a yellow card.
Oh, wow.
I tell you, VAR looked at it and did nothing.
And did nothing.
But it is what it is.
Well, it was a similar thing with the Spurs Newcastle game where Romero had that funny thing that he did. And so that, you could argue...
Romero is always living in a prayer also. That guy, too aggressive in his tackles.
Tom Holland, you know Tom Holland?
Yeah.
The Spider-Man.
Spider-Man dude.
Yeah, he said that he always thought Romero was just straight up mustard. I think Romero's straight up ketchup because red. You should always get a red card for what he does. Shout out Tom Holland.
Nice one.
Anyway.
Nice one.
So yeah, that's the first sacking, and Chris Wilder is back, and it seems
Wilder's
like we're back in, I don't know, 2000 and what?
2021.
20,
yes,
whatever
2020.
it was. Anyway, which is not that long ago.
Not too long ago. As you said, 2.5 years thereabouts. So,
anyway,
it's all right.
That's funny.
So, who should be the second?
Ten Hag. I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's any manager at the moment.
I still think Steve Cooper.
It could be. It could be.
I think Steve Cooper. After the 5-0 loss to Fulham, I think you just know his job is hanging by a thread. Then they played Wolves over the weekend, played 1-1. So they didn't lose, but that was away at the Molineux. And after the game, you could see him going to the away fans, giving them...
Yeah.
And I'm like, does he think his job is almost
I heard other places too that was a question mark that everybody had.
I saw that. And it wasn't like he was doing that with the players like everybody. He was the one.
It was him himself.
Yeah, him himself.
And we haven't heard anything yet.
No, and not as at this time, not yet.
My question is, they've spent so much money and there's been so many ins and outs, like so many players coming in, so many players they've sold. And like, what's the point of sacking him? I mean, they're not in the relegation zone yet, right? And they've had a few.
They are not in a safe place.
That's fair, but like,
they're not in a safe place.
I feel like Vincent Kompany is in his job still, and he's like relegation zone.
Well, Vincent Kompany brought Burnley back from the championship and all this season.
So did Steve Cooper.
Steve Cooper was last the season before this. So he survived last season.
Yeah.
And all of that.
But he brought him into the
he
Premier
did.
League. Yeah.
He did. But I think part of it is, when you spend some time with a team, sometimes the owners just go, we know he's a good coach. It might just be time for a change.
Could be.
It could just be time for a change.
Could be.
I don't think Burnley are thinking that right now. I don't think they are. Also, I don't think they spent as much money as Forest has.
No.
They haven't. So I think they are just okay with Kompany doing what he's doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best minimum for them is survival. But I don't even think survival is sure for them. So,
yeah.
But for Steve Cooper, I don't know, man. I hope he keeps his job because I don't think he's a bad manager. I hope he keeps his job, but you never know. I'm not that. I was trying to say the name of their owner was some really long name. It's kind of like it's like one of these Greek names, like Mavrocordatos or something like that.
Is he Greek?
I think he has some Greek. I don't know, but the name is kind of sounds Greek also.
Okay.
I just save myself the stress and not try to pronounce it.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Anyway, so that's your take is that it's gonna be
Yeah, you think Ten Hag, I think Steve Cooper.
Yeah.
I think Steve Cooper.
Go. We'll see how that goes. In other news, I okay, let me see if I can get this right with the accent and everything. Eintracht Frankfurt versus Bayern Munich. Bayern lose 5-1.
Yes, that was
Not something you see every weekend.
No, you don't see. Now Bayern can lose.
Sure.
Yeah, we're not saying it's impossible for them to lose. They actually rarely do
5-1
in the Bundesliga. But to lose 5-1, oof. I don't think anybody expected that. But shout out to Frankfurt. When you see the opportunity to, you take it.
That's right. And they did. 5 different goal scorers, I think.
Beautiful.
So that was interesting.
Beautiful.
Anyway, I think that was pretty much it from football this weekend.
Yeah, from European football this weekend, that was, I think, most of the major talking points.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll see how the Champions League goes, and then we'll be back again next week
to talk again,
talking about the Premier League
and the Champions League
and
the teams that have made it through.
Oh yeah, that'll be a big weekend.
Yeah.
That'll be a fun weekend.
Yeah.
We'll be looking forward to the Champions League when it returns then, and seeing which teams are going to play which teams. Champions League is always fun just because it's some of the best of the best. So
yeah, it is.
The matches are guaranteed to be some good quality matches.
Yeah. So yeah, most of them are. Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see how that goes. Anyway, thanks guys. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being with us. We will catch you guys next weekend with, like Judah said, Champions League recap and roundup, I guess, and then talking about the Premier League right before we head into the crazy Christmas, New Year holiday week/weekend back-to-back matches.
Games, bro. Like game after game after game after game. Like you could just stay home and just watch football all the time.
And some of us, that's what we do.
Well, I ain't saying nothing about that.
Anyway, thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next weekend.